Okay, everybody, let's recap the lesson. So we are on page 300, and we're talking today about what we call compound inequalities. So I just erased this stuff. I didn't really want to do the activity about cards, but I wanted to show a couple of examples. So here's my first example, okay? I have a statement. -3 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 5. Well, what does that mean? There's two ways to look at this. If we read the x backwards, read the x first, it says x is greater than -3. And then if I read the x this way, x is less than or equal to 5. So I rewrote x is greater than 3 and x is less than or equal to 5. So I did both, okay? So it'd be greater than -3, that's like this direction, like, 0 is greater than, -2, -1. And be less than 5, that'd be like 4, 3, 2. So I did this from 5, 4, 3, that's less than or equal to 5. Then, since I'm looking for both, I want the numbers that are both greater than -3 and less than 5, and I shade in between because those are the only numbers that work, okay? This helps me set it up, but to work for both, it's everything in between, okay? Second example is a little bit different. The signs go the other way, but if I read x backwards, it's like x is less than, I've got to read it backwards, less than or equal to -2, I wrote that. And then, or x is greater than 3, okay? So less than -2, that's like -3, -4, -5. Greater than 3 is like 4, 5, 6. And so in this case, they don't overlap, but it's this one, or it's these numbers, or it's these numbers. So that's called an or. These are called a conjunction, disjunction. We're going to talk about that later, okay? So then we get this activity. They're talking, okay, well, we have to pay a shipping fee. These are my shipping fees if the package is worth this much money. So between 1 penny to $20, we'd have a shipping fee of $6.50. So that means that if it's greater than 1 penny but less than or equal to $20, we pay the shipping fee, okay? And then if it's more than $20, so if it's more than $20 but it's less than 50, including less than or equal to 50 is that one, okay? And then we'd pay $11 shipping fee if it's more than 50 but less than $75. So I use those symbols. And then if we're going to pay $12.25, it would be greater than or equal to 75 but less than 100. If it's more than 100 or more, then it's going to be greater than or equal to 100. So then the number lines look like this, but then I thought, okay, well, wait a minute, we go on the other page, and of course we did a much better job of doing the graphs, okay? We also looked at two different things. This, again, is like our first example. We can actually read these this way. I don't have to break them up if I can do this smart, because I am smart, and you are too. We can look at it this way as x is greater than 2, so open circle at 2, but greater than goes this direction, but it's less than or equal to 7, equal to 7, solid dot, but less than. So if it's less than 7, it's going that way, that way, that way, but if it's greater than 2, it's going that way, that way, that way. So it's everything in between. So here is our number line shaded in between, okay? So they took it as two different statements and wrote it as a single compound statement, okay? And then the second one is the or statement. And again, I could graph this on a number line. If I'd have a -4 and a 2, and it says it's going to be less than or equal to -4, so close circle because the equal sign part, and then less than is going to be like -5, -6, so forth, so on, that direction, and then greater than or equal to 2, I think I messed these signs up, but that's okay, would be going open circle and that way right there, okay? How am I doing? So these are called compound inequalities. Compound because there's more than one, right? Compound, there's more than one inequality sign. There's a less than or equal to, there's two signs. Compound because there's two inequality signs. So we're looking at writing compound inequalities. Okay, great. So far, so forth. So then finally, if we take a look, and they want us to talk about conjunctions and disjunctions, the last thing I have to do is if a conjunction is where part or parts solution that satisfy both, okay? It's an and statement. If this if we overlap, that's conjunction. Our solution would be right. Our true solution is right in here. It's both, okay? A disjunction would look like this one here because it's either this or this, okay? Or it's this one here, it's either this one or this one, okay? And that's all I have for today. And so hopefully you guys can do the work, and we'll talk about the next lesson tomorrow.